Picture this. It's 3 a.m. You're staring at your phone in the dark, scrolling through listings on Zillow. There it is, a solid 4-bedroom house for right around $400,000 in a neighborhood that feels like the next step up. You can already picture the backyard cookouts, the kids running around, and finally feeling like you've arrived. Your heart races for a second, until you open the mortgage calculator. The monthly number hits you like a punch to the gut, and suddenly that dream house feels like a trap you can't afford. You know that feeling, right? That mix of excitement and instant regret when the math refuses to work. My name is Nico, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some high earners stay stuck while others build real wealth. If this video helps you see money differently, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. It really does help more people find this kind of no-fluff breakdown. Most people still believe a $400,000 house is the realistic entry point into home ownership in 2026. After all, that's roughly where median home prices have been hovering, and we've all heard the story that buying now beats renting forever. But here's the truth no one talks about on the glossy real estate channels. With today's rates, taxes, insurance, and stagnant wage growth for most families, the brutal math shows that only a narrow slice of households can actually afford it without becoming house poor. And even for those who can swing the payments on paper, the long-term cost might quietly sabotage the very financial freedom they're chasing. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly who qualifies, what it really costs over decades, and, most importantly, how to make smarter moves so you don't get trapped in the same cycle that's keeping millions stuck. Let's start with the psychology, because the numbers only make sense once you understand why we're so obsessed with owning in the first place. Think about it this way. Our brains are wired for survival. And for decades, home ownership has been sold as the ultimate symbol of security and status. You tie your identity to "I own my home," and suddenly renting feels like failure, even when the math says it's smarter. Here's where it gets really interesting. When you're in that survival mode, your brain floods with cortisol every time you see a "for sale" sign. You start making decisions from fear of missing out instead of growth. Sound familiar? That's exactly why so many people stretch their budgets the moment they qualify for a loan. They're not buying a house, they're buying an identity upgrade. But here's the part that will blow your mind. That identity shift often locks you into financial Stockholm syndrome. You convince yourself the big payment is normal while quietly sacrificing retirement contributions, emergency savings, or the ability to walk away from a toxic job. Most people have no idea this mental trap even exists until they're 3 years in and realize their entire net worth is tied to one oversized asset that's eating their cash flow. Now, let's run the actual numbers, because this is where the revelation hits hardest. Assume you're putting the classic 20% down on a $400,000 house. That's $80,000 in cash you need to have saved already. You finance the remaining $320,000 at the current 30-year fixed rate hovering right around 6.3%. Your principal and interest payment alone comes out to about $1,981 a month. Add average property taxes at roughly 1% of the home's value, that's another $333 a month. Before we even talk utilities, maintenance, or HOA fees, your total PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, is sitting at roughly $2,522 per month. Here's where it gets really interesting. The traditional 28% housing rule says your total housing costs shouldn't exceed 28% of your gross monthly income. Do the math on that $2,522 payment, and you're looking at needing a household income of at least $108,000 a year just to stay within guidelines. But median U.S. household income right now is closer to the mid-80,000s for most families. That gap means the typical American household is priced out before they even walk into a lender's office. And if you only put 5 or 10% down instead, private mortgage insurance kicks in, pushing your monthly number north of $2,700 and requiring even more income.
Over the full 30 years, you'll pay back nearly $393,000 in interest alone, almost as much as the house itself cost. Think about it this way. That $400,000 asset ends up costing you close to $800,000 by the time you own it free and clear. Most people have no idea this long-term math even exists because lenders only show you the monthly number that gets you approved.
But here's the part that will blow your mind even further. Let's talk real-world examples that prove how quickly this setup turns painful. I've heard from viewers who bought right at the edge of their qualification, solid six-figure households, only to face a surprise major repair like a $15,000 roof or HVAC failure in year 2. Suddenly, their emergency fund is gone, and they're living paycheck to paycheck again. Or the couple who landed the house, but then one spouse lost their job during a layoff cycle. With payments that high, their walking away power evaporated. They couldn't negotiate a better salary or take a career risk because the mortgage had them locked in. That's the financial Stockholm syndrome I mentioned earlier. Your house owns you more than you own it. The analogy that always sticks with me is the boulder on the hill. Imagine you're pushing a massive boulder uphill every month just to keep the payments current. You're exhausted, but you tell yourself it's worth it because real estate always goes up. Yet every unexpected expense, car repair, medical bill, or even a simple family vacation feels impossible because that boulder is still rolling. Meanwhile, the people who wait and build cash reserves first, they're standing at the top of the hill, watching opportunities come to them instead of chasing the next payment. So what changes once you see this truth? This is the empowerment phase, the practical shift that actually moves the needle. First, build your walking away money before you ever shop for a house. Aim for 6 months of full expenses in a high-yield savings account, plus that 20% down payment already sitting there. That single move changes your psychology from desperation to power. Second, focus on big leverage decisions instead of small budget hacks. Negotiate your salary aggressively every year, side hustle strategically, or even consider relocating to a lower-cost area where the same income buys more house without the stress. Third, run your own numbers ruthlessly. Use the 25% rule for comfort, not the lender's 28 or 36% maximum, because life happens and you want margin. A couple of clear warnings here. Don't chase the lowest down payment option just to get in the market. That PMI and higher interest rate will cost you tens of thousands extra over time. Don't buy in a high tax or high insurance state without factoring the true monthly hit. And whatever you do, avoid stretching into a payment that leaves you with less than 15% of your take-home pay for everything else: groceries, gas, fun, and investing. That's how people end up house poor even on six-figure incomes. Look, buying a $400,000 house in 2026 isn't going to make you rich overnight, but understanding who can actually afford it and what it really costs long-term will fundamentally change how you think about money and opportunity. The person you become, the one who makes decisions from clarity instead of FOMO, is far more valuable than any single asset. Start building that foundation today, because your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. If today's breakdown gave you that aha moment, drop a comment with your biggest takeaway and share this with someone who's house hunting right now. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp out there.